before we press on with things, the most important thing is, have you got a good track, or establish if you've got a good track. And from the last video, I would suggest that we have. But basically, the rundown is the frame range correct? Does it start the same frame number and end at the same frame number as the clip that you've been assigned? Is it the same frame length? The same number of frames? Is it the same frame rate? Is it the same frame resolution? Is the resolution gate set correctly in that the sensor size matches that of what you've got in the track, and the camera focal length? And I think that's about everything. And if all that's correct and it tracks well, then we're all good. And I've also set the scale. So next thing we want to look at is what I want to look at is set up the camera projections, right? So we don't really want it to be wireframe. We want the actual. What's going on? We want the camera projection thing. So how that works is you can actually feed the media into the camera, right? And then if you go to the camera and unlock it, which it's unlocked, and that will allow you to disable the image plane. We don't want the image plane actually. What we want is the projection. Enable, and we want to set that to texture. And then we want to lock it. And I think if we go to the actual mesh and change, the one thing I forgot. This is what I always forget this. You need to add something called a catch or catcher, and that needs to be attached to the geometry, and then that will do the texture, I think. So there we go. We have the texture now projected. If we go to the 3D thing, we'll be able to see it. Let's split the thing into view. So we have a look at the 3D, and we'll see we've got the projector projected onto the geometry. That's pretty cool, and you can see how when it gets close to stuff, it's pretty locked on, right? So what I suggest we do is maybe just tidy up the network a bit, and I'm not quite sure what the standards are for Fusion. With Nuke, you kind of have like a main pipe going from top to bottom, and then things coming in. So I'm not quite sure what it's sort of left to right, I guess, in Fusion. So we want the media out to be connected to the final output, and that will then appear. The comp will then appear in the timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate things. So let's just copy this lot. Control C, I guess. Control V, is it? Yes. Okay, let's import. We'll see if I can just drag in the frame. This go 250. 250 frame is 251 in the comp. Drag that in. Oh, that works all right. Media in. And hopefully is that just going to look? Okay, so that's interesting. All right, so if you're using the media 1 in, you don't get the options, because I guess that's linked to the timeline. Here we have the frame hold and all this business. So let's hook that up. And you can see it's a still, right? The still seagull there. Could have chosen a better frame without a seagull. I'm kind of tempted to get rid of the seagulls, you see. So anyway, we want to then go camera and go to our keyframe editor. Workspace, keyframes, make that selected, and fold that down. So we need to go up 251. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, a bit bigger still. I just want to make sure I don't accidentally delete the frame that we need. Again, in Nuke, there's a thing called frame hold, which you can apply to animation. I don't know why it's not updated properly. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. Yeah, so this seems to be the redraw in here. This seems to be a bit buggy, which is a kind of, you can see how mission critical that could be, because you think, oh, I've still got keyframes when you haven't, right? So that is a bit of a, that's something they need to fix. What's all this? Why are these all still around? So that's a shame, because so far I haven't. There's nothing. There's no been any real deal breakers. But that update thing. I didn't mention that in the last video, but I did come across it, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just a thing with this problem seen or something. So now you can see we have a stationary camera, and what we're going to do is, although we've got the stationary camera, we'll actually render from the other camera. So let's see if we go bring that to bring this one here, and I can disconnect it from the projection and link this camera in to this slot here. So now we have that animated camera. Let's change the, so it's this one here. That's because we're rendering currently with the static camera. We need to change the camera default camera. This camera, the first one. There we go. And you can see that we have a nice still frame to paint out. Although it does have the flare in it, so part of me's thinking I might just chop off the head of the shot where the flare comes on, so it's always on, rather than try and figure out a way of painting out. There's a whole situation with visual effects where it's a bit like being a doctor, but it's never life or death. But it's this whole business of you mustn't do any harm to the shot. You mustn't make the shot worse by introducing ropey VFX, right? That's the top rule in VFX, right? That no one tells you, but that's I guess it's like, well, that's the obvious one, isn't it? But you'll be surprised. So you don't want to make the shot worse is generally the thing. So but you can see it comes into, and then it's all great. So we have all this stuff to paint out, and to do the paint out, you just add a paint node. We'll stick the paint node after the media into paint, add, and then we'll stick it in here, and we'll look at it. And then we'll just go, we can then just use this one here is the one we want. And then I think under stroke type there's an actual, what's this one? Alt. There we go. Although you'd think that's clone stamp, it's that one. Okay. So there we go, get rid of the people. Maybe just get rid of all that, that's fine. So I look for, normally I look for halfway lines, right? And use that as a sort of guide. And this lot can just all go. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's all the people gone. And just do a big fat sausage when it's low down. Or, well, okay, so we're going to have to do it high up because it's only one frame, right? Edge possibly. So, and we've got soft edge, tiny bit of that. Okay, so this will be our new. Let's replace all this lot here. With the fat sausage. Let's see what that looks like. Well, we've got disappearing seagulls, so that's, we have sort of, okay, it's worked. Just these guys over here, and there's a sort of situation with the seagulls. Should we get rid of the seagulls completely? And we've got a frozen seagull. So this is what I mean about don't do any harm to the, you know, don't make the shot worse, right? And we certainly can't have them frozen seagull. And there's a bit of weirdness going on the top of the cave there, so maybe I'd adjust the roto there. But everything else is looking. Oh, what was that? Sometimes you can get away with deleting the problematic keyframe, and the sort of law of averages makes it alright. Let's try. Ah, you see this little dip there, right? That's weird. How did that happen? And has that fixed it for us? Yes. Okay. So we need to sort out that seagull. We need to sort out these people here and these people here. And obviously seagulls are disappearing. So the sort of my initial reaction is let's just get rid of the seagulls altogether, rather than it's always a case of like where's the work in the shot, right? Is it more work to roto the seagulls back or remove the seagulls completely? And I don't know really if I want an ellipse actually after all of this. I think I need a bit more control. Let's go with the and then a bit of feather. Get rid of the lips. And a bit of paint on the thing. Okay, so we want paint selected. This one here. And we're just going to get rid of the seagull there. So let's zoom in a bit. Make the brush a bit bigger. And try and clone stamp him out. Alt. There we go. No one know. There we go. Right. So that's sort of, we've done quite a lot of augmentation, I guess. Maybe a bit more than I really wanted to do. But sometimes, sometimes it's just easier to remove the whole problem altogether, right? So by now, if we have a look, see what the big patch looks like. We shouldn't have any seagulls, which is sort of great in a way. I mean, if you want the seagulls, we can always rotate them back, right? And we have to watch out for the ones that are flying. They do. We've got, well, there's a few things. You can see the flare, the difference between the flare, the thing with the flare on it. This is why I'm sort of, part of me is thinking, should I just get rid of the, you see there, you can see the 3D patch, and you can see part of me thinking, when the flare comes in, make the patch bigger. I'm going to have to go back over to Blender and adjust the aperture, I think. And make sure it goes up to the edge of frame. And also those boulders, we want those boulders back, but we don't want those. What else? What's that over there? Is that a seagull? It's a person again. We need to make that patch bigger. So let's get rid of that. And that, so we'll have a bit of, who was that guy? Over here, wasn't he? Zoom out a bit. I think he was over there. Let's see what was the, yeah. Okay, see what that looks like. We don't need the, okay. Part of me is thinking we need to extend the geometry to get the on the here. You see, the seagull just disappears. But this is the thing. It's just sort of managing your time, right? And there's this. I don't like. I might rotate back just this edge here, so we don't have all that horrible streaking going on. But yeah, I hope you can see that there's just quite, we've got rid of quite a number of people. I'm just thinking, I can see a weird little hoop thing there. That one there, and that one there. There we go. So again, I need to fix the geometry really and go into Blender. So I think that's what I'm going to do next, is extend the geometry, even extend it past the top here, and potentially use the sky to key the edge. And yeah, I'm going to stop here because it's sort of, there's still, you know, some people to get, and a dog to get rid of. Create preview, right. You have to, we have to watch out for the aliasing. As you can see, it's quite aliasing quite nastily. See what motion blur looks like? Okay, let's try with and without. See what. Oh, that sort of helps in the aliasing. So that's worth doing. There we go, hardware rendering, aliasing. Okay, let's just go with default, because I've enabled it, I think. As far as I can see. Well, let's just compare that with the software render. Yeah, that sort of seems a bit better, I guess. But it seems to be the motion blur did the most. And that doesn't seem to be shimmering so badly, so that's kind of better. There's going to be a big rock in front of it as well, so remember that. But that seems to have fixed that problem. That's not shimmering or anything. Play. Well, apart from the fixedness here, you're going to see that patch come in. Yeah, I might have to just abandon this one. I was thinking, like, just keep going, keep getting rid of the people and the birds and everything. Yeah, I'm going to just stop the video here, I think.